What's going on, guys? Yeah, we got her figured out. We got the 2013 F-150 all sorted out. Idling beautifully. As soon as you touch the throttle, just very, very nice throttle response. Doesn't stink when you're standing around it anymore. Oh yeah, she's back. Running beautiful. Running absolutely fabulous. There's only a few things. I was grinding my gears today, and it's like there's only a few things that will cause a vehicle to immediately fulfill the amount of fuel that it's dumping and automatically peg out short-term fuel trim so fast that it goes immediately to negative 28.9%, and then back to open loop, and then closed loop, and then open loop, and then closed loop, and then it would not measure the alcohol percent in the vehicle. The flex fuel inferred would not learn what it was supposed to learn, and clearing keep alive memory did not reset the alcohol inferred. None of that was working. Nothing was working. Making sure the O2 sensors were the right O2 sensors. I had parts pull the O2 sensors from the shelf so I could compare them. They looked identical. So I said, I mean, I don't see it being O2 sensors because they're actually reading. When I unplug them, it sets circuit faults. It's just telling me they peg out rich immediately, and then the truck can't adjust appropriately. So I'm driving it today, trying to figure out everything that's going on. I said, man, I checked the O2s. I pulled the exhaust down. I made sure it wasn't plugged. I pulled the plugs out earlier. They were all completely blacked over and ashed up. I mean, just terrible from it dumping fuel. I made sure it wasn't a leaky injector. I did a leak down test. It never leaked down. Fuel pressure was prime right at where it was supposed to be. It was always holding about 62, 64 PSI. And then on key off, it only dropped down to 58 and stayed there, so it wasn't a leaky injector. It's like, what the hell is this, man? What the hell could it be? What did I not do? It could be a leaky injector that causes the fuel to just peg out like that. That wasn't it. I did the test on that. It could be a bad O2 sensor, but they're brand new O2 sensors, and they're the same ones that we have in the parts department. That's really not it. And when I unplug them, they function like they're supposed to. They set circuit faults and all that good stuff. So that's definitely not it. It could be a PCM problem, but it's reading that the O2 sensors are actually functioning when I unplug them. It's giving me circuit faults. It's reading the circuit fine. So that's not it. What is the only thing I didn't check? You know, oxygen sensors, that's not it. The air filter's not all crushed in and stuff. It's brand new. That's not it. What did they do that I did not check yet? Mass airflow. Pull the mass airflow out of the truck, the brand new one that they put in, and put the old mass airflow back in. Reset keep alive memory. All of a sudden the truck started idling way better than what it did before. The smell started going away almost immediately. The alcohol percent inferred started changing immediately from 83.13 or 82 or 83.13. I think it'll go with 70. 68, 62, 54, 45, 41, and I'm like, yes, this is what it's supposed to be. I look at short-term fuel trim. First, long-term picked up, and all of a sudden I started seeing it drop from negative 11 to 10 to 6 to 5 to like 1 and back to 0, and then short-term picked up, and it started backing off 28.9, 22, 20, 14, 15. I'm like, yeah, let's go. This is it. And then right into range, everything back into range, lambda into range, everything fit right where it was supposed to be. The grams per second was optimal on the mass airflow, and the truck was absolutely running phenomenal. There she is. That's that girl. She's back. She's back. It was a bad mass airflow. Yeah. So this is one of my subscribers here on the channel that took it to other shops, dumped over $1,600 into it, lost the truck for a long time because of it just sitting and being at a shop and all the money and stuff like that. And I'm glad he brought it to me. I'm glad I was able to line it out for him, get it fixed. And now I'll work something out with him labor-wise. You know, this is an odd situation where obviously I'm not going to charge him every single hour that I had into this thing, because every single hour that I had into it, it really wasn't, I didn't call him to get anything approved. The thing that I would think would be fair would be the fuel that I put in the truck to get all that nasty fuel out of it, which is $100 in fuel. And then I did pull the new spark plugs that were just completely trashed and put another set of new spark plugs in it right before I figured this out. So the spark plugs, the fuel, I've probably got about 6 hours tied up into this truck, but I'm not going to do that. I would say, I think, 3 hours is fair. The time to clear the fuel, the time to multiple test drives, the time to go back over somebody else's work that they already have into it, to actually set the CKP, because the other shop didn't know how to set the CKP whenever they changed the crank sensor in it. I think 3 hours labor, pay for the parts, pay for the fuel, let's get him back on the road. That's more than fair, especially when he's already spent $1,600 and then all the labor that goes along with it. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh yeah, she's wanting to spin. Oh yeah, she getting a little wild, baby. A little wild child. She back. Got a nice little video for you too. I'm going to show you the readings and how everything was changing as she's good now. Man, she's good. Really good. Clear out that exhaust, get that passenger side catalytic converter cleared out, let it get nice and warm, get everything out of it. Unfortunately, in a situation like this is kind of what you have to do whenever you get something that's, you either get lucky, either you damage the catalytic converters, or you've done good enough to get them all nice and cleared out, and they'll function fine, and they'll be completely, okay after that. But I'm glad I was able to take the opportunity to be able to look at this gentleman's truck and get him back on the road, so he doesn't feel like he has a driveway asphalt weight or concrete weight just sitting there weighing everything down, taking a huge loss, But anyway, the truck's up and running. Everything's good to go now. It's running absolutely phenomenal. I hope you all have had a great day, a successful day, and stay blessed as always. I ain't gonna believe this. I'm hooked up to my Think Diag right now, and these are all the trims that I wanted to run. I wanted to run short-term fuel trim bank 2, short-term fuel trim bank 1, oxygen sensor output voltage bank 2 sensor 2, oxygen sensor output voltage bank 1 sensor 2. I wanted to see the bank 2 sensor 1 fluctuation, bank 1 sensor 1 fluctuation, and then long-term fuel trim. I wanted to be able to monitor that, and then I wanted to be able to see my lambda for my bank 1 sensor 1 upstream for bank 1 and upstream for bank 2. And lambda is more of what you would call a more accurate reading on the newer vehicles, on what they use. They use an equivalency, a ratio, and it's much more accurate. and right about 1 is normally where it sits. That's optimal. And if you look here, you'll see now we have an alcohol fuel percentage of 48.627. Last night when we first started all of this, we were looking at 83.13 with an inferred value of unlearned. And our airflow rate sometimes would be up to 8 and it would be down to 6. And I was out driving this thing today after putting another set of plugs in it because the old plugs were just completely nasty and this thing ashed up, just burnt over and stuff. So I threw another set of plugs in it because it just didn't want to run with those nasty plugs that were in it, right? So I get everything together and I'm out driving the truck and I was like, you know what, you need to start going back over what all the other shops have already done. And I'm looking at the oxygen sensors and I told my parts department, I says, hey look, let's get in the truck and let's actually go drive it right now. Everything's in spec now. If you look at my long-term fuel trim bank 1, it's barely pulling fuel away now. And if we look at short-term down here, it's absolutely spot on, right in the money, exactly where it's supposed to be. You can be plus or minus 10 for your short-term fuel trim, and you want your long-term at 0. It'll take a little bit for it to reset at 0, but it's almost there. And your short-term right here will be plus or minus 10. You really want it no more than plus or minus 5. And it's right at 0. Spot on, right on the money, no issues at all. And it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The truck is running beautifully right now. All because of a stupid mass airflow that looks the same, has the same part number, but it is a malfunctioning part and does not function properly. If you look at bank 2 sensor 2, you see how it's reading like 0.7, 0.8. That means the catalytic converters are actually doing their job when they stay right in that ratio of 0.7, 0.8. It's going to take a little bit to clean these cats out because of how overloaded with fuel they are right now. And you're going to see some fluctuation, and who knows, there may even be some damage done because of how much it's been dumping fuel because of a faulty mass airflow. The bank 1 sensor 2, it's having some issues keeping up, but I have a feeling once you drive it, it'll kind of stay right there at that 0.7, 0.8. So we'll drive it and see what's going on with that. And then if you look at your upstream right here, where's it at? I want bank 1. So if you look at bank 1 sensor 1 lambda, bank 2 sensor 1 lambda, they're staying exactly right where they're supposed to be. There's not really a lot going on there. So we need to go drive the vehicle right now because it's running absolutely phenomenal, and I'll take you on the drive with me.